In this video, not brought to you by Hobbytown, but I like them, we will talk about the Tamiya 4-wheel speed checker. It is for mini Z cars and other type of vehicles. I don't know that it was specifically designed for these, but it does have some nice features, and it will give you some baselines for engine tuning and whatnot. It will not measure torque, but it will measure speed at the rear wheels. I'll tell you a little bit about it. It starts off with some wheels that are just rollers, and these have no bearing on the indications. They're just there for the car to sit on. This is also a 4-wheel drive checker. However, it does not take any measurements from these front rollers. That is all they are, is just rollers. This here, notice these two, this one and this one, move together when you turn them. That is where the speed is actually measured. All this back roller is for is to put your wheel between these two to give it a place to sit. There is a flip up car retainer in case you have a car that will go flying off the end. It does occasionally happen, and I try to make sure that it doesn't, but it could. I find it somewhat useless though, because on anything longer than a 94mm car, there just is not physically room between this barrier and these rollers for the length of the car. It'll sit on the back rollers, which are actually more true than these. These have a little bit of wobble in them, which I don't like because it makes the car seem bouncy. These rollers here, the tapered ones, so you got the smooth ones that actually do the measurements, and the tapered ones are just designed to hold your car in place, and it will find the center, you know, the lowest point as it spins. The front ones are actually not tapered either, but they seem to be a bit more true as well, but I really wouldn't know so much because I don't have any 4-wheel drive cars. Also on today's test, we're only going to test brushed cars. I do not currently own any brushless cars, but would like to get one someday, just not yet. I'm finding out that a 50-turn car is plenty fast and is pretty competitive even against brushless cars, at least on the tracks that I run. Your larger tracks, a brushless car would just eat it. It's got a lot more power. But on a short track, power is not as critical as you might think. But I'll just show you the differences between a few. We'll just run a few tests. I'm not going to make any claims or generalizations. I'm just going to show the results, and we will run them all using the same set of batteries. Keep in mind, these are on cars that are geared up. We're doing a larger track this weekend, and we're using a higher gear ratio than normal, so you're going to see higher speeds than you normally would on a 50 and 70 turn car with a 7 or 8 tooth pinion. All these have 8 or 9 on them, I believe, and I'll show you the differences and let you decide for yourself which motor is for you, although it just measures wheel speed, it doesn't measure torque. Getting to this, you do turn it on. It has two functions. You can either select it to do a timed distance or a speed. I like to do the wheel speed because that's what I care about most. If you know the length of your track, you can set it for distance or time for a certain distance and push start, and it'll tell you how long it would take to run that distance at full throttle. To me, that's not very relevant because speed actually does the same thing. You don't have to wait over a period of time. So I'm just going to do the speed runs. I'm going to start off with a Kyosho white cap motor. This is the one that came in the box, and you'll be impressed with it. It's not a slow motor. And for this test, I'm going to run with the same set of batteries. They're PN900s. I'm going to use the same set in all the cars. Again, this is the white cap Kyosho box stock motor, the one that came with the car. And here's how this fits on. As you can see, with this flipped up, it would be at such an angle to reach the wheels that it's just not worth using. So I flip it down. The wheels go in between the rollers, and that will hold them in place. To use the wheel dyno, you have to start with the wheels rolling. If they're not rolling a little bit, it will never do the speed test. But let me get my hands free and I will show you how this works out. But this is how we run the device. Turn it on first and get the car turned on as well. Got the wheels inside the grooves. You can see how they fit. They're just inside between the rollers. And in order to use it, we'll start the wheels turning a bit. Once the wheels are turning, then you'll start the speed check. And I have to have the proper controller out for this. I've got 4 of them in front of me. I got to find out which one. There it is. All right, so I've got the wheels turning. In the previous run, when the battery was a little bit fresher, I did get 26 kilometers per hour out of it. They're a little bit tireder now because I had to reshoot the scene. Now it's 25, 24. But it was at 26 on the earlier test. As you can see, the white box stock motor is not bad. It's pretty good. And you got the beep at the end showing a maximum speed on this run of 25. Once again, I did get 26 when I shot the first time, but the video was upside down. So these batteries have been used for all the tests already. The one I'll be testing now is the chassis from my 94mm Ferrari 360 GTC, and it has a PN70. I have fitted it with LM rear tires. They're a little bit thicker. One of them is brand new, the other one is not. And it will give a little bit higher final drive ratio just because the tire's a bit thicker. But this is the PN, so it's got a 9-tooth. Remember the last one ran 26 kilometers per hour. We'll see what the PN70 does with a slightly larger wheel and a 9-tooth instead of an 8-tooth. So 24, 25. The PN70 with a higher gear ratio and a larger tire is not hitting 26 kilometers per hour like the stock motor did on an 8-tooth. The PN70, in my opinion, does have more torque, but not necessarily more top speed. And again, we're using the same exact batteries from the other car for that test. This car here is the one I've nicknamed the Jeff Hunter. We got a guy that is really fast at our track named Jeff, and I built this car to try to get around him, and it's incredibly hard to do that. But this one has an X speed, just a Kyosho X speed with an 8-tooth pinion, and I have decorated the mechanical diff a little bit with a red magic marker because red obviously makes a car faster. So we're going to try this one. We've had so far 26 on the stock white cap motor with a 9-tooth. We've had 25 max speed with a PN70 on a 9-tooth. This is an X speed on an 8-tooth. Also 26 kilometers per hour, the exact same top speed as the white cap motor, 27 now. So this one is 1 kilometer per hour faster peak top speed, but it's holding at 26, which is exactly the same as the white cap motor. The white cap motor is a 70 turn, this is a 50 turn Kyosho motor, and it has more torque, but it will not show necessarily a higher top speed. That is the four-wheel drive speed checker holding the maximum speed of 27 kilometers per hour. The fun one is next. This is the car I call the Hypermod, and it's just bonkers for a brush car. It's 50 turn PN motor. It has the spec gears that we race on when we use or when I race in Wisconsin. You can see it has the orange 10-tooth pinion and the spec spur gear that's yellow, and it equates out to about an 8.2 tooth for regular Kyosho gearing. So it's a little bit lower than a 9, but a little bit higher than an 8 But this one is also the PN 2.5 chassis, so it's a bit different, and I don't know that's any faster, but as far as the chassis goes, but the motor definitely is. Make sure that we got everything going, and I'll get the right controller here. This is the one that if it's going to fly off the dyno, it's going to be this car here. So I'm going to put this box in front of it in case it decides to go flying. I don't want to lose the car into the wall. So this is the fun one. These are the same batteries that we've already tested the other cars with. And PN 50 turn with spec gearing from Trax Hobbies in Wisconsin. .33 kilometers an hour, so you can see 34. I've seen it as high as 36 with fresh charged batteries, but you can see the PN50 is a significantly faster motor than the others. It's almost too fast for a short track, to be honest, because it immediately is to the next corner when you hit the throttle. But that is the test of the mini four-wheel drive speed checker by Tamiya Plastic Model Company. It is valuable when you are doing work on an engine. You can see immediately if what you did was successful or if you've got an engine that's getting weak. Last race I did in Wisconsin in the mod class, I came home and realized I had a top speed of only 15 kilometers per hour after my second place finish, and that motor was toast. It was no longer any good. I wish I'd have changed the motor before I went up there. Things may have been different, but if I had run this prior to that, I would have known. So it is of value. You can also use it to test different batteries. Different batteries will give you different speeds. It was kind of eye-opening to see that the normal Kyosho motor was just as fast on the top end as an X-Speed. The difference is torque, but I'm not going to say definitively this is this and this is that. I'm just showing you my observations. You can make your own, but I really, through testing, really enjoy the PN batteries. I also like the Peak 900s. The Orions are just a little bit off of these as far as top speed, maybe a kilometer or two, but they do hold their charge a lot longer. I have not had good luck with the Speedhouse. I'm not saying they're bad batteries, but the Speedhouse have given me the lowest reading so far, and I'm not going to repeat that because it takes a while. But this is how I get my wheel speed indications. These are available on eBay or Amazon, wherever you are. They're not very much money, between $30 and $40 normally. So if you like it, great. If you hate this video, click the dislike button. Once again, I don't care. I'm doing it for you guys. If you know, trying to make everybody faster, because I like competition. Anyway, until next time, we'll see you. This last section is just for those of you who doubt the validity of the 26 kilometer per hour run. It was shot upside down, so I will now show you that upside down video. There's no point to keep watching unless you just want to see it, though. Have a good day. In case you were wondering, this is also where I get my wheel speed data for my wind tunnel aerodynamic testing. It doesn't do any good to blow wind across the car unless you know how fast it can go. So this is how I figure that out. First thing, we'll start with the wheel spinning a little bit. I'll push the start button and we'll go for it. And this white cap motor, box stock, is running 25, 26 kilometers per hour. Peaked at 26. At the end of the speed run, it will tell you the maximum speed reached. That is the first one. This is a 26 kilometer per hour car. It is running an 8-tooth pinion gear on a white box stock motor. Next we'll try a PN